First day was a bit shorter, and it was also Immortals doing well in the early game, so fun to check in on them again.
And of course, Fnatic learning a little bit from the last couple games. Longshu's been playing BDD, not going to get a chance to play the Taliyah, Jarvan, and Kalista, much more standard bans.
Yeah, Khan been playing the Jarvan as well up in the top lane, getting removed, so Fnatic are targeting some of the champions we've seen from Longshu already here at Worlds.
First time we're seeing Longshu on the red side, we should note. They were able to first pick Jarvan both games so far at Worlds. Speaking of both games, Fnatic have had that really high priority on Ryze. I wonder if they would even first pick it, given that it really allows Caps to roam and side lane as the game goes on.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big one, but also Galio is open in this draft here. We know Longshu wants to play that champion as well. And so I've been reading Reddit lately. They're highlighted one of the dog champions he could actually beat Longshu with.
The literal dog champion.
The actual dog champion.
Instead, though, it's going to be Reckless getting his hands on the Tristana, one of the premier hyper carries, one of the only ones left with Kog'Maw and Xayah taken off the board.
Yeah, a lot of AD carries removed. Now, Varus is a fine matchup against this Tristana, or you can also run the Twitch, which we have seen quite a few times. And Prey's not exactly new to this champion, in case he locks it in.
You're not new to the Janna, not a common pick these days for him, but in meta's gone past on Najin Shield at Worlds in 2014. He was one of those big Janna players next to someone like Zero. Was on Royal Club at the time, so they will lock it in. I'm intrigued to see what the AD carry choice is. If it's just the normal Varus, this is definitely a cornerstone of the champion pool. In spring season, you either saw Prey on Ashe or Varus. It gives them initiation from bot lane, and Prey is famous for his arrows. Chain of Corruption, it's right up there, it's an initiator.
And of course, this is the new standard when a lot of those power picks are taken away. Varus seems to be the go-to carry, but it does give Fnatic the opportunity to pick up a jungler, round out the rest of their first pick.
And also note that they didn't look to Twitch. They did not want to draft the Twitch Janna on red side and have a losing bot lane. So they went for Varus for power. A lot of power on blue side as well.
Look what Fnatic are doing here with the Rakan. They're not taking Lulu and just matching the shield with the Janna. They want engage. When Fnatic are doing really well, Justice is on an engaged champion. And now they can actually also start targeting the bottom lane if they want to start ganking it in the game.
Both teams matching each other as we complete the first rotation. Junglers and bot lanes have to find out what the solo lane picks are going to be and what's going to be taken away, more importantly, as Gnar is the first ban.
And again, we have 4 members of Longshu we focus on, and one that we pass over usually. That's the rookie Cuz, who's looking in his first season to become a world champion. The one initiation champion he's actually shown really good performance on has been the Gragas. His casks have been on point. You haven't had to really question his engage on this particular jungler. So it may not be the Kha'Zix, it may not be aggressive, but it's a good pick for Cuz.
I want to highlight that Galio is still available. Fnatic plays it in the top lane. Obviously, Longshu plays it in the mid lane. Fnatic can still ban it away here if they want to, or if they leave it open. We have to see if BDD wants to play it. Because normally when he gets a champion like Galio, you can go to top lane and you can even assist bottom lane if needed.
Galio, Cho'Gath, they're big picks that certainly could be considered first pick on the red side for a blind pick. BDD 10 games played, only 5 deaths on frontline Galio. 88 players being reinvigorated with him, and you see a Trundle ban, so it seems like Soaz happy to play a tank.
Yeah, exactly. That could signal a Cho'Gath for Soaz in the top lane.
Maokai, I guess, as well.
Maokai is another one, just in case it is not locked in here by Khan up in the top lane.
Remember that Jace is banned, so Jace, Trundle, like you say, together, says tanks
There's
to the
the
top
Galio.
side.
Is going to make it through. Could be a point of concern for Fnatic. Fnatic may have loved to get their hands on that one. We've seen Jesus alongside a Galio, especially with Rakan, be such a threat.
And if this is another team, you look on the red side and you say, well, surely it's Galio top because they're low damage. You don't really see a secondary damage dealer if it ends up being a tank top lane. But Longshu have tried alongside KT Rolster to play these very early to mid-game comps. Do they work in the Ardent meta? That's a different question, because if the game goes long, low damage is always a concern.
Yeah, and if they want more magic damage, which I don't necessarily think they have to go for because they got Gragas Galio, then Rumble is available in this draft. Otherwise, I still think you can go for a physical damage dealer in the top lane.
We could see this actually locked in here. It's a dog champ for sure, but there was an escape. It's locked in. Okay, we see this played once in the LCK promotion tournament by Ever 8 winners. They ran Nasus into Maokai. You can free farm in the lane. There's the potential for turret dives, and it was this exact setup. Galio mid lane and Nasus top lane.
Soaz felt so safe in blind picking a tank because they banned the Jace, they banned the Trundle, even removed the Jarvan. And then a Nasus shows up, that's his champion.
God, the literal dog champ against Soaz. He's fighting his own demons right in front of us.
You could argue he brought this on himself. He talked about it, he called it out, and Khan has obliged. Seeing this pick at Worlds is so exciting. Another unique pick, another unique champion for Worlds 2017.
And I feel like Longzhu obliging us after the Gigabyte Marines wanted to play a standard game. They're saying, hey, we'll be the ones that are going to mix it up a little bit. But now we have such a unique composition assembled on the side of Longzhu. What is this Nasus doing? Is this just the standard farm it up solo queue Nasus? What does this guy bring to the table?
I mean, it will in the early game be a lot about just farming, but in the late game, he's such an absolute monster. Also now, with that reduced cooldown on his Q during his ulti, it is so hard to deal with him if you get that far into the game. So the fact that Fnatic are running a lot of engage simply means that if they can force enough fights before we go to late game, they can use that effectively.
All right, here we are, Fnatic versus Longzhu, the Nasus pick mixing everything up. An exciting moment here for the team. Of course, if you haven't already, folks, there is now a chance you can head over to the store. If you want to participate in Worlds 2017, check out the Championship Ash skin. 25% of the proceeds from Championship Ash and Ward skins are being added to the prize pool, with another 25% being donated to charity. And of course, there's the Chroma as well. We've only seen it once. I thought maybe Prey would play the Ash this game, but instead he's on the Varus, and we're seeing already some attention on the top side.
Talked a lot about Khan, who is caught up here, but probably not going to be enough damage to take him down.
A lot of early poke. Clearly Fnatic are aware that this Nasus could be a problem if they let it go unscathed through the early game.
They know he's going to be recalling, so they could get deep vision if they want, and certainly the Saplings will do that. Longzhu backing away from their top side, but I wanted to mention Khan, because I think last year we came in, high expectations on Smeb. People were waiting, when are we going to see the carries? When are we going to see something different? Smeb played Trundle, Smeb played Standard. We see 2 games of Jarvan on the side of Longzhu. This time the Nasus available, but I have to hold the point.
Number 1. Dark Sphere's gonna check. Multiple members there. That's the body slam into 2, the immediate flash out. Caps gonna be down the summoner spell alongside Broxa.
Exactly, 2 members. I think Fnatic a little bit baited because no one seemed to take damage from that Q from Caps. Everyone stepped out from Longzhu and then right back in.
I actually think it's a pretty poor level 1 decision, because if you consider Fnatic knew that Longzhu had vacated their top side, it's safer to invade a part of the jungle you know the enemy is not on, and re-invading bot side is a risk that was unnecessary, I would say, for Fnatic. They could have taken the long route to bot lane and ignored it. Instead, they get caught.
To make it even worse here, Caps could not go back to base. No TP on him, so he's down a lot of HP early on. Will have to use both his potions as well to just get full HP in this lane. And we know that BDD is just here to farm in the early game and then get that level 6 on Galio. And suddenly, if you want to play this game where you're trying to shut down the Nasus, Galio can join in and help.
Difficult place as well, with both flashes burned. It's going to be so much more difficult. Caps and Broxa, so frequently the members we talk about on the side of Fnatic, now both flashless, both significantly less able to be proactive here in the early game.
Forever 8 winners, when they did play Nasus Galio versus Maokai, stacked the CDR, it was Trinity Force early, just a carry, more of the carry build you see in solo queue, and turret dives were real. Galio is insurance on the top and on the bot, which is big for Longzhu.
But now, of course, one thing we have to highlight is when you look at this matchup, most recently against IMT for Longzhu, their bot lane did suffer. Their bot lane did fall behind, and we have to wonder, is this an avenue for Fnatic to exploit?
I mean, we know Fnatic wants to get the bot lane ahead. We saw when Fnatic played against Immortals, they hard camped the lane. It worked, as you said just before, in the first day of Worlds, where Gorilla died multiple times in lane. The same thing probably needs to happen for Fnatic to succeed early on. You don't want to try and feed your own Maokai. You need to get Reckless going on this Tristana. That's why they draft Rakan, to also have some CC set up.
But the window is small, because the moment that Galio gets ultimate, the headaches start to grow. Sure, it is not Alistair to repel those early ganks, but Janna can do a bit of peeling, even at level 2. Once Galio gets to level 6, he will also have disengage. So it's not necessarily a hard timer, but to try to recreate with this comp, you need to get going soon.
Yeah, and you also kind of want that level 6 on Broxa. Meanwhile, Gorilla and Prey, probably knowing the game plan from Fnatic is play around bot side with the draft, with how Fnatic has played in the past. And their job is just to stay alive and don't actually try anything risky. And it's one thing these guys are very known for, at least avoiding, you know, the ganks.
And you think back to the Varus over the Twitch that was available. If you draft Varus, he can always do something. If he needs to push, put more points into Q. Hell, E is even decent in that situation as well. He's the much stronger laner, and if you're looking to leave someone on an island, Twitch with Relic Shield, that's risky. A Varus, he's certainly someone that can make the best, even if the game is not going to be about bot side early for Longzhu Gaming.
Terrifying champion to try to dive out, try to pressure, especially once he hits that level 6 mark as well. So just continuing to build on to that point we made earlier about this being a very small window for Fnatic to exploit. If they want to find this lead in the early game, it has to be quite early. But for now, they may have the vision on the bottom side, but not a whole lot else. Even the pressure is starting to balance out as the wave bounces against the bot lane tower.
There's another thing I want to mention about Nasus, but I'm just waiting to see if Cuz is doing anything. No, he's stepping away. There was a buff that happened to Nasus quite some patches ago where his E also started reducing 15% armor when he used it on target. And if you look at Longshu's composition, the majority of the damage is going to be physical coming in, obviously because of Nasus himself being able to smack around with the Q, and reducing that armor here on some of these big tanks on Fnatic is actually very effective and very important in the late game.
Yeah, the Spiritfire used to be flat armor in MR. Now it being percentage means it scales into the late game, and we wondered who the second threat would be, expecting Galio mid. The Nasus infinite scaling certainly does fit the bill, even though his kite ability is always going to be something to keep a track of.
It's just a little nerve-wracking. So often we see teams put themselves in a position where they're playing against a clock.
We might get the first gank in that bot lane here. Praying Gorilla are pushed pretty far up, but playing it safe right there, reading the situation correctly.
Yeah, 2 question mark pings around the bot side was enough early information, I assume, from BDD after seeing him pass through mid lane to stave off that particular start. Prox is spotted.
BDD knows what's up. He's going to back right out. Taking it forward here. Moving on as Broxa goes back to the top side of the map. He is going to walk face first into Cuz, but Cuz already getting what he wants out of the exchange.
Watching Soaz come down. Nasus so far just free farm. First item purchase already. 10% CDR on the Sheen, so he's happy there. As Cuz might be caught. Level 4.
Not exactly where we wanted to be. Luckily for him, it is just the Maokai. All the burst damage used up. Soaz not looking to commit the ultimate. Knows it might be more important for this laning phase. A lot of things to consider here. But Cat Champ versus Dog Champ, top side of the lane. Not the most exciting matchup. Once again, waiting for the infinite scaling, and this is the thing that scares me. If you're playing against Longzhu, and their game plan is to sit here and wait, all of the pressure is on Fnatic to do something, because eventually, as you mentioned earlier, Nasus is going to be unstoppable.
But even that phrase you utter is surreal to someone who cast the LCK, because Longzhu were on the faster ebb of gameplay. They were not SKT, they were not Sampa, they did not focus on the outscale. They focused on their early to mid-game shot calling, their understanding of win conditions, which largely were precipitated around getting big leads. And usually you see the first 4 champions, not including the Nasus, and you think that's what this draft is about. They flip it on its head. They're playing a different type of meta at Worlds, but they are going to be comfortable as the game goes on.
Kana already sitting on about 100 stacks in the early game. He's not really been under any pressure. We'll just keep farming up in that top lane.
Now, though, as we move a little bit further into the game, level 7 for Caps, he doesn't have pressure here. Not a whole lot of kill threat onto the Galio without some help. Maybe he can find the opportunity to roam. However, Flash is now back up. Much easier for him to play out the rest of this laning phase. Cuz taking his time, both junglers approaching level 6. This could be the catalyst, the point for playmaking.
It's just so important that Cuz is always moving in, placing a few deep wards, so he's finding Broxa. He's able to see if Caps is roaming as well. And again, it just means Prey and Gorilla are going to be so safe in that bot lane. You can see how Fnatic are always hovering around the bot lane, but they simply cannot get down there unspotted.
That means extra time. That means Nasus getting access to minions. He is ahead in CS compared to the Maokai. It's only good things for Longzhu. The pace of the game is slowed. We already see a couple of early trades onto Soaz. It's not going to be a Galio coming in this time, but soon that game plan may be enacted.
And of course, Sheen, a nice early item purchase, lifesteal from Nasus as well, means it's pretty easy for him to sustain up in this lane. May not have the kill threat, but Cousin Prey could. That's the level 6. Chain's not going to connect. Rare misstep from Prey on that one.
Warning shot. Telling Jess what's going to happen next time he's overextending in the bottom lane.
And now, Longzhu just going to take advantage of any pressure they got on the bottom side, but it's immediately removed with the ultimate gone. It's so much easier for Reckless and Jesus to play further up. No fear of a counter engage.
A sedate game with Longzhu involved. Not what I expected here, and I know when I was saying for the hopes for this game pre-tournament, I wanted to see late game fights between Rekkles and Prey, two of those top-tier mechanical AD carries, and at this pace, we may very well get it.
Definitely the case. Right now, it feels like Prey has kick-started himself with the option to go for a more, gold-efficient starting item, at least in terms of gold production.
I'm just afraid that when we are setting up for the big late game AD carry fights, Khan just kind of takes over on these like 5 million stacks Nasus, one-shotting Rekkles or Caps in one of these fights, because once again, it's a very slow game in favor of Longzhu. BDD's not been able to use his ulti because why? He's just saving it. He literally just wants to be defensive at the moment, and it's all he needs to do.
Well, at this point, we have to start asking some of the big questions, which is, for example, how many stacks have you guys seen Nasus hit in the game? Because we could get to some big numbers here. We're at 160
Are we
already.
talking about solo queue or competitive? Because you mentioned an Ever 8 game, there was a Dignitas game for someday. There's not a whole lot of a sample size to go on here.
I'm going with either.
I mean, I have quite a famous Nasus myself when I'm playing.
Oh, really?
I'm only last hitting with E, however, because I don't want to get too strong in the game.
See, it's the deliberate training weights. You got to hold yourself back. Well, even if Khan decides to play that way, luckily for Longzhu, he still has the Wither, which I feel like is such an undervalued tool against one reliable late game damage threat.
I mean, just consider the situation. You get Withered, you're against Gragas, Galio, and also the Varus. Do you use some Cruel Scimitar on him? Because that's what's going to be the reality. Choosing your CC, you might have to see a Rakan go very early Mikhails purely to actually increase his damage.
But still, not a lot of catalysts for action. We thought the bot lane might be posed for it. Of course, Prey does have the tools to force engages. Once again, it's just not in the Longzhu playbook right now to force anything aggressive because it's just not needed.
And with that Scimitar, that might happen in the late game. Problem is obviously with Khan getting some cooldown reduction, the fact that his own cooldown on this W is so short, it's going to be like, what, 10 seconds?
Maybe less.
Maybe even less. So when Rekkles will have that small window where he uses his QSS to get some damage up, he needs to burn through tanks. It is super difficult unless Fnatic, and it's why we keep highlighting getting bot lane ahead. But right now, Prey is sitting with the same CS as Rekkles. No tower's even taken some real damage just yet. And it's just meaning we're kind of waiting for the big moment where Fnatic pulls the trigger.
Guys, we waited for day 4. We want what is the
Might
counter?
Might be now.
Sensor. Yep, we'll hold the point.
Also going to go wide because flashing out. He's not a damage drops, but just tickling him. Bit of a fumble there from Broxa. Not going to be what Fnatic wanted. And now Caps out of mana. VDD's going to have lane priority.
Push up, VDD. Happy to take these good trades. Force Caps behind. Extend the game further every time. Get that click over to Nasus, see the number increasing. The timer only gets more severe.
Khan just perpetually comfortable in this lane. Luckily for Fnatic, they do have lane pressure. Zoaz is able to push the Nasus out, but for how much longer? How much longer until the Nasus actually has kill threat on the Maokai, especially with the Storm Raiders? It's going to be an easy chase down.
So now that Fnatic are unable to stop the Nasus, they can't really gank bot. Maybe they should switch around the focus. I like what Caps is doing now in trying to go up and see if he can kill Khan. Other thing you can do is you can try and lane swap with your dual lane, send him top. Let's see what happens here.
DC, ultimate's going to come out. Not a lot of mana in the pool for Khan. Is still alive. Caps playing with fire here. Second he hits him, he's going to draw that tower aggro, so has not a lot of health. Just going to clear the wave. TP is going to be used as Longzhu take the bottom tower. Solid play from Longzhu, and Fnatic not getting anything.
Yeah, I think Fnatic early on in this game here should have, when they had a push in the bot lane, recalled, swapped to top lane, and try and just rush down that turret here. Open up this map a little bit so Khan is not feeling so safe.
But so much happened in an instant. The first day was a bit shorter, and it was also Immortals doing well in the early game. So fun to check in on them again.
And of course, Fnatic learning a little bit from the last couple games. Longzhu's been playing BDD, not going to get a chance to play the Talia, Jarvan, and Kalista, much more standard bans.
Yeah, Khan been playing the Jarvan as well up in the top lane, getting removed. So Fnatic are targeting some of the champions we've seen from Longzhu already here at Worlds.
First time we're seeing Longzhu on the red side, we should note. They were able to first pick Jarvan both games so far at Worlds. Speaking of both games, Fnatic have had that really high priority on Rise. I wonder if they would even first pick it, given that it really allows Caps to roam and side lane as the game goes on.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big one. But also Galio is open in this draft here. We know Longzhu wants to play that champion as well. And so I've been reading Reddit lately. They're highlighted one of the dog champions he could actually beat Longshu with.
The literal dog champion.
The actual dog champion.
Instead, though, it's going to be Reckless getting his hands on the Tristana, one of the premier hyper carries, one of the only ones left, with Kog'Maw and Xayah taken off the board.
Yeah, a lot of AD carries removed. Now, Varus is a fine matchup against this Tristana, or you can also run the Twitch, which we have seen quite a few times. And Prey's not exactly new to this champion, in case he locks it in.
You're not new to the Janna, not a common pick these days for him, but in meta's gone past on Najin Shield at Worlds in 2014. He was one of those big Janna players next to someone like Zero. Was on Royal Club at the time, so they will lock it in. I'm intrigued to see what the AD carry choice is. If it's just the normal Varus, this is definitely a cornerstone of the champion pool. In spring season, you either saw Prey on Ashe or Varus. It gives them initiation from bot lane, and Prey is famous for his arrows. Chain of Corruption, it's right up there as an initiator.
And of course, this is the new standard when a lot of those power picks are taken away. Varus seems to be the go-to carry, but it does give Fnatic the opportunity to pick up a jungler, round out the rest of their first pick.
And also note that they didn't look to Twitch. They did not want to draft the Twitch Janna on red side and have a losing bot lane. So they went for Varus for power. A lot of power on blue side as well.
Look what Fnatic are doing here with the Rakan. They're not taking Lulu and just matching the shield with the Janna. They want engage. When Fnatic are doing really well, Justice is on an engaged champion. And now they can actually also start targeting the bottom lane if they want to start ganking it in the game.
Both teams matching each other as we complete the first rotation. Junglers and bot lanes have to find out what the lane picks are going to be and what's going to be taken away, more importantly, as Gnar is the first ban.
And again, we have 4 members of Longshu we focus on, and one that we pass over usually. That's the rookie Cuz, who's looking in his first season to become a world champion. Initiation champion he's actually shown really good performance on has been the Gragas. His casks have been on point. You haven't had to really question his engage on this particular jungler, so it may not be the Kha'Zix, it may not be aggressive, but it's a good pick for Cuz.
I want to highlight that Galio is still available. Fnatic plays it in the top lane, obviously Longshu plays it in the mid lane. Fnatic can still ban it away here if they want to, or if they leave it open. We have to see if PDD wants to play it. Because normally when he gets a champion like Galio, you can go to top lane and you can even assist bottom lane if needed.
Galio, Cho'Gath, they're big picks that certainly could be considered first pick on the red side for a blind pick. BDD 10 games played, only 5 deaths on frontline Galio. 88 players being reinvigorated with him, and you see a Trundle ban, so it seems like Soaz happy to play a tank.
Yeah, exactly. That could signal a Cho'Gath for Soaz in the top lane.
Maokai, I guess, as well.
Maokai is another one, just in case it is not locked in here by Khan up in the top lane.
Remember that Jace is banned, so Jace, Trundle, like you say, together, says tanks in the top
Galio.
side.
Is going to make it through. Could be a point of concern for Fnatic. Fnatic may have loved to get their hands on that one. We've seen Jesus alongside a Galio, especially with Rakan, be such a threat.
And if this is another team, you look on the red side and you say, well, surely it's Galio top because they're low damage.